Well, hi everyone. I'm John Rickland with my review of WWE Raw, aka Monday Night Ad Break, aka Meh the Musical, and, well, the opening segment and the closing segment sure seemed familiar, didn't they? They really ran out of material during this show, didn't they? So they were like, well, shit, we did the same thing in the opening segment, basically. Let's just repeat it in the same way in the last match, and nobody will be able to tell the difference because everybody will be fucking zoned out by that point. Though there was one particular sequence or segment, pre-tape segment, that pretty much took me out of the show. I wonder if you can guess what that is. So, we started with Asuka being interrupted by Sasha and Bayley. Because it was supposed to be Asuka versus Charlotte. So Charlotte could bury Asuka again. And, cool, okay, Asuka shouts, Charlotte's here. And then the Iconics are also here. So we get 6 women, human centipede together, in a segment where they start brawling. Basically, after talking, they start brawling and everything. We decide to suddenly have a three-way tag match, and cool. Okay, great. You know what? We have some talents, and also Charlotte there. Yes, we have constant fisting action during this, and actually some pretty good stuff. You know what? It actually wasn't that bad of a match. Asuka was having a blast. At one point, we get a few missteps, but that's fine. These women did keep the action constant. Billy and Peyton are a dynamite team. Bayley and Sasha held up their end of the bargain also, and Charlotte was also there. Asuka was the star here, and Asuka ends up scissoring Billy from behind and gets her to tap out, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, if Asuka wasn't a champion, I would have had an issue with this, since we're having, Bayley and Sasha, Alexa and Nikki Cross, the talented Nikki that's been in WWE, and the Iconics in a 3-way women's tag team championship match. Had it been Billy losing to a non-champion, I would have had an issue. That's okay, though, because Asuka is awesome. And, hey, who knows? We could possibly get Billy and Peyton taking on Asuka in singles matches heading into SummerSlam. I can dream, can't I? So, Charlotte attacks Asuka afterwards, guaranteeing that we are going to get this match a little bit later. Then recaps of Seth and, all the stuff that he did with Ray's retirement, and a weird filter that made it look all Messiah-ish, if that's even a word. And then Seth joins commentary for this Ray interview, which is basically the same pre-tape thing. Thankfully, no Dominic. I have no idea why I have such an unyielding rage towards Dominic, but, yeah, whatever. At least he wasn't there. Seth says to Ray, I don't understand why you don't get this. I'm doing this for the greater good. The greater good. Shut it! And he says, you and Dominic come to Raw next week, and I will show you what I'm doing. Please come to Raw next week. And Ray's talking about his injury and all that stuff and everything. Okay, cool. And then suddenly, this was also the worst timed ad break, because Alistar dives over the announcer's table suddenly on the Rollins, and holy shit! And then we go to break. We just fucking go to break. Like, the breaks were badly timed. Now, obviously, they did pre-tape this. Boy, you really can tell they pre-taped some of this stuff. But then we come back. We have Humberto and Alistar Black against Murphy, Don't Call Me Buddy, and Austin Theory, the man who does it all day. I wonder if one of my particular followers is gonna, react to that. I'm sure they will. So, not a bad match. Short, though, and Alistar ends up pinning Murphy with a pretty good strike. And then Rollins shows up again in Ray's mask, and that somehow distracts Humberto and Alistar enough so Theory and Murphy can get them from behind and beat them down and everything. And Seth says at one point, hang him up to Alistar. Maybe you shouldn't say that in this climate. Just saying, Seth. But then, beats him up and everything, curb stomps him. Okay, we're getting that match, obviously, at some point. I don't remember what the Backlash card is, so I actually don't know if we're getting that match at Backlash, which, by the way, will feature the greatest wrestling match ever in the planet. What are we waiting for? Let's get out of there. They repeated that actually about 90 times during this show. Maybe just 90 times in hour 1. We then get a Pete show with Edge, but Orton also shows up a little bit later, but hyping up the greatest wrestling match ever in the planet. And then Christian kind of trolling him and everything, saying, maybe you're not ready. This is a non-gimmick match or whatever. You haven't had a real wrestling match in 9 years. Maybe you don't have it anymore. I see that doubt. And then suddenly Edge gets focused and everything. It's like doing weird theater, but obviously these two are friends. And Christian was just doing what he could to hype up Edge, doing some good stuff, and the promos were fine. The promos were pretty good. Orton then again says, the greatest wrestling match ever. Seriously, WWE has been trolling us with this since Charlie said that, and now they're just hitting us over the head. Watch this end after 30 seconds when Orton attempts an RKO and Edge hits the most devastating maneuver in all professional wrestling, the surprise roll-up. I also don't know if I'm going to do Backlash predictions or not because I believe they've already taped it, and I don't know if I want to bother even predicting it, so we'll see. Maybe I'll do them after SmackDown, maybe not. I have no idea. So it was nice to see Christian back on Raw. And then we get MVP and Truth talking backstage, and then Lashley attacks him. It's black on black violence, and why is Truth the 24/7 champion? Why aren't they using him differently? Why is 24/7 championship still a thing? Why is this going on? There's no reason for this title to still exist. We then have the decathlon. Okay, look, right here, this is where I wish that WCW had won the Monday Night Wars. If Vince Russo had never gone to WCW, then maybe WCW could have recovered, and we could have actually had maybe something run decently, because this decathlon bullshit, this fucking shit, it has, and I know that some people may find the Viking Raiders entertaining and find the Street Profits entertaining. Let me say that right now. If you guys find this entertaining, fan-fucking-tastic. I cannot take the Viking Raiders seriously at all. I don't believe them as a threat. I don't care about any of their matches anymore. I don't care about the Street Profits anymore. You can be a comical team. You can have an epic rivalry where you actually do shit in a ring, or you can do all this shit, the bowling shit, and the mini golf, and the axe throwing, and whatever the fuck else they did last week. I don't even goddamn remember. This is some of the worst television that I have seen in 20 years. I am currently watching WCW 2000. Some of that shit was more entertaining than this. Now again, it looks like the guys are having fun. Fantastic. I don't care. This isn't wrestling. This is cinematic bullshit. It's fucking stupid. The pre-tape stuff is goddamn stupid. Yes, they've done stupid shit before in the past with some tag teams. Remember when they had the Road Warriors and they called them the Legion of Doom? And oh yeah, they tried to make them more entertaining. They gave them a dummy, of all things, a puppet. Remember how that worked? Oh, it didn't fucking work. You booked the Viking Raiders or War Machine like badasses and it could work. No, let's put them in this kind of stuff with a team that is really grating on my goddamn nerves. And Ford is talented. Dawkins is talented. And they're having fun, but I do not give two flying fucking shits about this team. And yeah, you can call me old man yells at cloud all you damn well want. This segment right here made me question, why am I watching this? Why am I still a wrestling fan after 35 plus years? Because this isn't wrestling and it's fucking stupid. It's really fucking stupid. This is an embarrassment. This is a travesty. This is as bad as the Stadium Stampede match. It's as bad as a lot of cinematic stuff that WWE has done. Like, really, and, like, if I'm going to knock AEW for the comedy bullshit they do, which they do deserve, because some of their stuff is good and some of it is bad, WWE doesn't know how to do comedy. And this wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. Did I say it wasn't funny? So, a 1,600 meter run, we get arrows and a guy getting shot by an arrow. Violence, that's fun, because people are stupid and don't know how to shoot arrows. We get a sword fight. Now, 4 men sword fighting. That's a euphemism right there. 4 men, 1 flip cup. That's something else entirely. Hurdles, where, one of them just runs through the hurdles because, they don't understand the rules because they're Vikings. Do you get? It's stupid. If Heyman did this, Heyman should be fired into the sun. If Kevin Dunn did this, he should be fired into the goddamn sun. I'm going to quote that Futurama line. You'll be fired out of a cannon into the sun. I know that it's wrestling and I shouldn't take it as seriously, but if you have 2 talented teams like this, especially War Machine, they should have just stayed in New Japan. Or I think they were Ring of Honor in New Japan. They should have just gone to New Japan and just stayed there, because they would have been booked so much better, because then at least New Japan would have had a decent tag team division. And WWE has some good tag teams. They just don't give a shit about booking them well. This was meat eating and a pole vault. Who is this for? Who is this for? I would really like to know. Again, whoever came up with this segment should be fired out of a cannon into the sun. Apollo has new music. Cool. He talks about the triple threat match that's going to be coming up that's going to dictate his new opponent. And we get Kevin Owens attacking Garza and Andrade, 2 Hispanic men being blinded by 1 Caucasian Canadian man in Orlando. News at 9. And then we get Owens versus Andrade versus Garza'S. Good match. Zelina gets knocked down at one point. Hopefully she actually is okay and not just selling, because it actually looked like a decent strike there. So hopefully she actually is okay. She can't take a bump. She is talented, but I just hope she's okay. And then spam finishes. You hit a finish, you hit a finish, you hit a finish. And then Andrade pins Garza after Owens had stunned Garza. And then Andrade kicks Owens and covers Garza. There we go. Andrade tops his tops one of his favorites. 1, 2, 3. I don't know, tops one of his boys. Anyway, we then get Charlotte interviewed, interrupted by Asuka slapping her. Good. Slap the freaking taste out of her goddamn mouth. Zelina then fingers Andrade and Garza and gets rid of them. Okay, well actually she just points her finger at them. So, Kurt struggles with words, talking about the greatest wrestling match ever in the planet. Drew and the Viking Raiders, ladies man, Ivar. I hate this. Drew should be a badass. I know that he's having fun joking around, but the Viking Raiders, again, should be badasses. You don't need to do this stupid shit with them. MVP Lounge, Drew interrupts. And then he headbutts MVP, and then we get him and Lashley staring down. And then we get the Raiders and the Profits at the ring, because the Profits are shouting on commentary, even though they're not on commentary. They're shouting loud enough to talk over commentary. We get the Viking Raiders versus MVP and Lashley. And Lana's backstage because we need to interrupt this roller coaster for an interview with Sable 2.0, this stupid twat that should not be on WWE TV. And Drew's also at ringside. Big old schmoz, and then it just goes on like this. Lana also said in that interview, 2020 is the year of Lana. Let me tell you right now, if 2020 is the year of Lana, then the pandemic isn't the worst thing to happen to this world. So, that Ivar has a way with mass, a quote from Samoa Joe. And then Eric taps to the full Nelson, and Ivar gets attacked, and then we get a big old schmoz and everything again. Unhinged, a movie, only in theaters July 1st. Best of luck with that. Backlash plug, greatest wrestling match ever in the planet. Charlotte versus Asuka, Bayley and Sasha on commentary. The Iconics are pressing against the glass. Take that how you want. And then we suddenly just get a big old schmoz between them again. The referee doesn't call for the DQ. I don't know why. Doesn't call for the DQ. But it is what it is, and maybe it's because they didn't touch Charlotte and Asuka. I thought they did. I started tuning out at this point because I knew what was going to happen. I knew that Charlotte was going to win, and she did. So once again, all 6 of these women human centipede together, and then we get now back to one-on-one because women get kicked out, and then a nice octopus pin variation. Well, it was almost a pin by Asuka. That was pretty cool. Nia interferes. We get a bit of a botched 3 count after a big boot. I think Asuka was supposed to kick out, or just kick out 3 1/4 like Hulk did with Ultimate Warrior at Mania 6. But then Charlotte wins, because of course Charlotte fucking wins. There, that's all I gotta fucking say about that. Get rid of this stupid twat. For the love of fucking God, I don't care if she's being cast like this. I'm sick of it. If the point is to make us sick of Charlotte so that we want her off TV like they did with Shane last year, mission fucking accomplished. Get Andrade, do something. You and Charlotte go off and make some children or whatever and get Charlotte out of the goddamn ring. She's made enough goddamn money. She's sure as fuck buried enough goddamn people. We don't need Charlotte on TV anymore. Or just have Charlotte sit at home for a couple months after SummerSlam and give us a break from her. Seriously, she isn't fucking needed when she's not helping any of the women. She ain't helping NXT, she ain't helping SmackDown, she ain't helping Raw. Was the Charlotte-Asuka match good? Yes, it was very good, but we knew Charlotte was going to win. And it did nothing for Asuka. Yes, it's because Nia interfered. Cool, whatever. If Asuka doesn't beat Nia in about 5 minutes and choke her out and send that stupid idiot, that worthless moron, to, back, like, out to pasture, just out, like, wherever. I don't fucking care, because Dwayne is clearly responsible for sending that atrocious couch here. We do not need that. In fact, no, I take that back, because you know what? A couch actually serves a purpose. You can actually sit on a couch. Nia, if you tried to sit on her, she'd probably botch that and injure you. So anyway, you know what this was? It wasn't a very good episode of Raw, but it wasn't a bad episode. It was just meh. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.